Solitude. Enjoy it till you can't. We're social creatures, people. We rely on communication, intimacy, and connection for our emotional well-being. We rely on these things to such an extent that the fear of rejection stops a great many of us from even trying. Some of us go so far as to reserve ourselves to a conveniently enjoyable solitude. Whether or not it's a facade, it inevitably becomes one. All relationships have a complicated weave of cumulative stresses that require emotional experience, a reasonable amount of hard-earned trust, depending on the person, and ultimately a common sense to not waste your time on assholes. Well, I can't really say assholes, on people you aren't compatible with. Some people know exactly how to handle assholes and actually enjoy having them in their lives. I'd sooner deal with an intentionally cruel person than someone who won't give their perpetual positivity a rest. It's overbearing. The incompatibility is just too much. But something happens when the parameters of what someone considers incompatible expands to virtually everyone they know or meet. It's the solitude one enjoys until they can't. It's the self-inflicted relationship death rattle. It's the self-sabotage that goes with inaction, because gaining and maintaining friendship requires effort for the vast majority of people. You could consume hours of podcasts to replace in-depth conversations you would have with friends, and convince yourself it is a satisfying equivalent. You can read and reread your favorite character arcs and find parallels between your growth and the growth of characters you love, instead of having and keeping teammates to grow in tandem with. You can read or listen to Robert Greene and pretend self-help equates to real-time life lessons, or read or listen to Susan Cain deluded that quietness and reservation is in your best interest, cherry-picking your content to replace experience, relationships, and satisfaction with entertainment, until it's so late at night you have to pass out and are too tired to ask the question, how do I sleep at night? We wake up with hangovers fueled by accidental self-overindulgence, pump ourselves full of caffeine because we forget we're used to feeling like shit. We go to work, we have obligatory small talk with coworkers we'd never interact with otherwise. We go home and engage in never-ending scrolling dopamine fix of social media. We check our mail and purposefully don't make eye contact with the neighbor doing yard work 50 feet away. We're convinced what we're incapable of is the grand gestures required to connect with another, while never committing to do the little things that add up. We confuse a lot of effort with consistent effort, and miscalculate the benefits and detriments associated with either of them. We assume we'll be exhausted with a lot of effort, and assume we're intruding upon another's life when we make consistent effort. When we assume, we lose. Perhaps we assume these things to bypass the rejection we assume we'll face. If we share this in common, we experience a similar negative feedback loop. And I would never presume to tell you I know how you feel, or I know that I'd welcome you and your consistent effort or grand gestures into my life. But I would say, don't assume. Either way, you have my sympathies.
Bag of two. Yo, what you snorting? Can I have a few? Now I'm bored, you bore me. When your boss's boss's boss has a boss. I'm bored.
It's this movie Harvey from the 50s, and his mother says to him, in this world, you can be oh so pleasant or oh so right. I prefer pleasant.